let's break the ice. I really wanted to understand what best describes your role at your school. So I'll just launch that poll. Yes, now you should be able to see that poll on your screen. Okay, I think we can close the poll now. Okay, so I can see a lot of teachers, 60% of you are teachers. I think you've joined from customer schools and want to see what's new with AssessPrep. I can see there are some some leadership here, about 36% from the leadership, some people who are handling technology at schools, and we also see some participants who are with student services. Okay, so before I start with the demo, I just really wanted to talk about the four major shifts that are happening in assessments around the world. So these are things that I think have been happening for a few years now, and they would accelerate over the next decade. The first one is I think we are moving away from summative assessments to more continuous assessments. So moving away from these end of term exams endpoints to continuous checks so that we can kind of uh, we can guide our learning and teaching accordingly. The second is there's no one size fits all. And now with AI, it's possible to create hyper personalized assessments. So we are moving away from assessments these which are one size and moving towards more personalized assessments. Third is more personalized and adaptive assessments, and then the shift from paper to digital. So I really wanted to talk about the fourth point, wherein there's a shift from paper to digital assessments. So the first one is that there are four major curricula around the world which are making the shift. IB Diploma, as we all know, is making that shift from for the language and literature and language acquisition subjects this year. The Cambridge International Curricula has already launched digital assessments in five of their most popular subjects. Uh, by 2033, we expect 85% of all assessments would have digital options. That's what they've announced. Pearson EdXL has been doing this since 2022, and 14 of their subjects are available for on-screen assessments. And advanced placement is moving majority of their subjects to digital or hybrid by 2026. This is not a format change, it's a paradigm shift. For teachers, we need to understand how we can create these high stakes exams, on screen exams. They need to be able to understand not just how we understand the pedagogy, but also the technology behind it. For students, they need uh, environments which can mirror the experience. And for teachers and for the leadership, there's a big change where they need the infrastructure to support this paradigm shift. And this is not the only shift. There are other things that are happening. There are other problems, other gaps in the assessment space. If I wanted to look at it from three different lenses, the first one is the student lens. Uh, what is the problem with assessments? In terms of the students, uh, there's delayed feedback. So feedback either arrives too late uh, or to be actionable. It's an endpoint. It's not continuous assessment. So the student has already moved on. It does not measure the skill. It's a narrow measurement of the skill and misses what students truly understand. And there is no roadmap. The scores provide a label to the student, but it does not really kind of helps the student understand what paths the student should take to improve. For the teachers, we are seeing there's an unsustainable workload. So a lot of administrative tasks and teaching does not leave enough time. Assessments, again, add to these daily tasks. There's a lot of time that is spent creating curriculum aligned, standards aligned questions. And then there's the grading burden, which takes away our weekends, the sheer volume of grading that we have to do with these continuous assessments that are taking place. For the leadership, we see that the data is fragmented. It shows the outcomes, but fail to explain the root causes. Uh, it's impossible to measure if all if it's aligned across all of the classrooms. If, we are teaching the same things, we are getting the same learning outcomes, we don't have enough visibility of what's happening across classrooms. And then there's the operational logistics of every assessment cycle that happens. So these are some of the issues that still plague the assessment. And we wanted to launch version 3, keeping all of these gaps in mind and what we can do to improve some of these issues that schools have been facing. So because some of you who have joined this webinar are probably new to AssessPrep, so I just wanted to take my time to introduce what AssessPrep is. AssessPrep is an advanced end-to-end platform, and the aim was not only to make schools go digital from pen and paper assessments but to make assessments more efficient, reduce teacher workload, and help measure and improve learning outcomes. We are the largest assessment platform in the IB space. We work with over 800 schools in the international school space. Uh, we support all curriculum standards, including MYP, DP, Cambridge, Pearson, American curriculum. We work with schools in 85 different countries. Uh, and with the launch of version 3 and with AI powered workflows, we've been able to save teachers a lot of time. So this is what AssessPrep is. But in terms of this wheel kind of explains what we do with AssessPrep. So it's an end-to-end assessment platform. It helps you to kind of create assessments. So you can use question banks to author, and I want to come because this is one of the big updates that we're coming up with. You can use AI to author assessments. We have a lot of question types and content types that allow you to create really rich and interactive assessments. And you can also import assessments from a PDF. This is, again, one big update from version 3. If I come to delivering assessments, so this is one big change that we've made. We're not a platform that allows schools to move from pen and paper assessments to digital assessments. We want to support you where you are. So we wanted to make it more flexible for schools, even schools which are doing pen and paper assessments, to be able to use the efficiencies of a digital assessment platform. So there are 3 different modes. One is the paper mode. Then we have the lockdown mode, and then we have the browser mode. So the lockdown mode is essential with AI. So homework is kind of dead with the students having the ability to kind of access a lot of different tools and websites while they're doing their homework. The lockdown mode is obviously very, very helpful. We have paper mode, which allows the schools to still do the assessments on paper, but create efficiencies around creation and grading of assessments. Then the next thing is how to make your assessments more inclusive. So we have a monitoring dashboard where you can support students in real time with accommodations. You can track their progress. We've worked a lot in making assessments more inclusive. So that's the big update with version 3, which I'll be showing you in some time. Finally, once the submissions come back, this is where we spend most of our time grading and giving valuable feedback to our students. So here you can grade everything with AI. You can give annotations and feedback, and everything is almost auto-marked. And the last is analyze. So once the submissions come back, we can analyze the learning outcomes, and we can see how the students have performed for each of the curriculum standards. So this is, again, something that's really, really important, not only to streamline the entire assessment process, but how can those assessments guide our teaching in our classrooms. And this is, I think, the full circle where you create, deliver, monitor, grade, and analyze all of these assessments. And we integrate with some of the most popular LMSs that you use. So ManagePack, PowerSchool, Clever, ClassLink, so all of those different integrations are now available. So before I talk about the 5 pillars of version 3, the big updates, I just wanted to kind of take a step back and think about what made us work on these. Firstly, we wanted to expand beyond the IB. We wanted to support schools which offer multiple curriculums, be it the Cambridge, Advanced Placement, Pearson, Excel, British curricula, American curricula. So we have launched a large question bank. About 75,000 questions across these 5 different curriculums are now available on AssessPrep. The second is AI-powered workflows. So you have now the ability of generating full assessments with AI. You can import assessments from a PDF. Earlier, you could just generate questions. We launched something called Paper Mode, which bridged the gap between the paper and the digital world. But now we have launched a better version of Paper Mode, which is Paper Mode 2.0, with a lot of the feedback that we had received. What this does is it makes it easier for you to kind of grade paper-based assessments on AssessPrep. We've made AssessPrep more inclusive. So we have launched a few accommodations. So some accommodations and tools so that your assessments, you do not need external accommodation. You can track all of your accommodations and you can easily assign all of those accommodations to your student before your assessments. And finally, what we have is AI grading. With one click, how you can grade the entire assessments. We have included more question types that you can now grade with AI, including handwritten submissions. So because I would now talk about the question bank, I just wanted to get a sense of which curriculars, or if you did teach multiple curricula in your school, which curriculars do you offer or do you teach at your school? So we'll just open that poll now. You'll see a poll on your screens. So mostly IB, but some of you offer the American and the British curriculum as well. Okay, so now I wanted to talk about the question bank that we've launched for these different curriculars. Uh, so what we used to offer in version 2 was a question bank for the MYP and DP. What we have done is we have enhanced that question bank. Now there's a very large question bank that's available for DP, approximately about 18,000 questions in more than 19 subjects. Now we've introduced a new syllabus for the sciences, for environmental science, psychology. All of these new banks are now available through AssessPrep. But we've also enhanced our MYP bank to make it better with all the feedback that we've received. Now it's available with about 13,000 questions across 16 subjects, about 450 assessments. But we have a few new banks that we've launched for the new British curricula, advanced placement, Pearson EdXL, and the entire Cambridge pathway. So Cambridge Lower Secondary, Cambridge IGCSE, and Cambridge A levels. So I would just go back to the AssessPrep. And now, if your school offers any of these, you can see all of these different assessments are now available. So in DP, so you have 19 different subjects from economics, ESS, geography to a lot of these different subjects are now available. Let's say if I open psychology, we can see the new syllabus is now available. And as a school, you can either use the assessment and duplicate this assessment uh, and just make changes, or you can pull questions as per the different specific curriculum topics. But not only the DP, but you also have a large bank that's now available for Cambridge Lower Secondary, Cambridge A levels, Cambridge IGCSE, uh, uh, and advanced placement, and Pearson EdXL A levels as well. So that's one of the big updates. Now, approximately, we have about 2,500 assessments, 75,000 questions across all of these different international curricula, and we will keep making more. We will double down on this, and the aim is to support schools with assessments so that you do not start with a blank slate. And these are very high quality assessments made on the lines of the uh, past year papers. So it follows the same kind of format, but questions that students do not have access to. The next big thing is we already have a lot of assessments in the form of PDFs, Google Forms, or in Word documents. And one of the feedbacks that we had received from teachers was that we want to get all of those assessments into AssessPrep, and it takes a lot of time, and it takes time to copy paste these. So we wanted to come up with something which is very accurate. It can just completely transform your paper-based PDFs into assessments. And this is something that we are very proud of, that the way we have executed this, it does it very, very accurately. So what you would be able to do is now you can just take any PDF, any Google form or Word document, and you can put that into AssessPrep. And so you would have this feature where you can import an assessment, and you can put that assessment into AssessPrep, and then it'll just extract all of the questions for you. So I could have used a Google form, I can use a PDF, I can also convert a doc into a PDF. So I will just drag and drop a PDF here. I will just choose my topic. So it'll convert the PDF into images so that you can choose which images you want to, which pages you want to extract the questions from. So I just want to extract all of these questions. It has some math. It also has some images. So I want to see how it does it. So I want to import this assessment into economics or DP2. I can see my rubric. I can see the standard set, and I simply click on the save button. Now it would take about 30 to 50 seconds, and it will be able to import all of these assessments, all of these questions into AssessPrep. So I will just quickly talk about what it is doing. While it is doing this, let me just very quickly talk about what it is doing. So it understands the structure of your assessment. It understands how many sections you have, what kind of questions you have. If it's a multi-part question, have you included the mark scheme or explanation? So it's very, very intelligent, and it will preserve the structure, it will preserve the questions, and it will be able to import. The second, and which was a very difficult thing to implement for us, was how do we import all of the math equations into AssessPrep accurately? So it's able to import math and latex and does it with accuracy. So it's able to import all of your formulas, and even you can use it for physics, math, and all of the subjects which has a lot of latex. The third is, which is uh, something where if a lot of these assessments have images, and even if we were allowing AI to kind of import these assessments into AssessPrep, it was not able to import these images. But now we are able to extract the images and we are able to embed them into the right questions. So all your images, graphs, and diagrams from these source files are embedded into AssessPrep. And finally, if you just don't want to import the questions, but you also want to import your mark schemes and explanations, you can put those in as well. And AssessPrep would be able to import all of those into AssessPrep as well. So it did the import. It took about, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds. Import is completed. It has created two sections, and it has imported all of the questions with 100% accuracy. So I can see there are multiple choice questions. There are questions with diagrams. So, and it has also imported the teacher explanation. And it has preserved the structure of the exam as well. So there's a long answer question, and it has been able to import the teacher explanation alongside the image that I have put in. So that's the first big update with version 3. The second is we were allowing teachers to create individual questions based on your curriculum standards, but that you had to constantly keep generating these questions and reviewing them, and then you had to kind of design your entire assessment. We thought, let's go a step further. How can we generate an entire assessment with one prompt with AssessPrep? And there were two things that we wanted to do here. So let me go back to AssessPrep and first show you how this is done. So there's the generate with AI. This is something that will be opening for schools in the next couple of weeks. So let me first select what assessment I want to generate. Um, so let me generate an assessment in biology for DP2. And this is what the configure AI configuration looks like. So there are two options where I can create new, or I can create a variation of an existing assessment that I have. I can choose the language, number of questions. I can choose what kind of questions I want. It could be automatic. It could also be manual. I can choose the difficulty level. I can ground it in a chapter or any kind of source. I can even select which topics I want to generate this question on. So let's say I want to generate this question on these three topics, the assessment on these three topics. I can give additional instructions. So I can put some instructions here and then simply click on this save button. Now it will take about 2 or 3 minutes and then generate this assessment. So just wanted to talk a little bit about what this is doing. The first thing is you can select how you want to structure the assessment, what kind of questions you want, what kind of topics you want, what are your question types. And it will generate the entire assessment using some of the best models and generating really curriculum aligned questions. So it understands your context and is able to generate really high quality questions. The second and one more exciting thing is sometimes we have a lot of assessments. We want to preserve the structure of the existing assessments or class tests or assessments that we have. And it is able to just generate a variation of those assessments. So it can generate a variation of that assessment with the uh, generate variation option. So it will maintain the structure of the assessment that we are generating. Um, And it would kind of understand the kind of questions we have, if it's a group question, the images we have, uh, the topics that are there, and it'll just kind of change the values. It'll change the context, but maintain the difficulty level and understand. But let's say now it has generated a few questions. It has generated the entire assessment. So it has generated a variety of questions because I gave the structure as automatic. So there are multiple choice questions there. There are true false questions, fill in the blanks, and then there are some questions in section B, which has some uh, these are long answer questions that we have, and it has also generated images and group questions as well. So it's able to generate the entire assessment for you based on your topics. It's created two sections, and it has created it on the topics, the assessment on the topics that we've mentioned. The third thing that we've been working on is the ability to generate better questions within the assessments. So one of the feedback that we were receiving from teachers was, yes, questions that AI is able to generate, we are not able to generate uh, images with the questions. So now what you can do is, let's say I want to generate one question and I want to generate a question for ID diploma biology uh, for the command term analyze, and I can choose my topic, let's say cell structure, and I can now say generate image. And I click on the generate. I can give some additional instructions as well. And what it would kind of do is it would understand my context, and it will be able to generate questions which are aligned to the IBDP, but much better in terms of quality that you than what you saw in version 2. The last thing that we've improved in terms of question generation with AI is the ability to then modify those questions with AI. So earlier, the problem was that we were able to generate these questions, but it was a little complicated to kind of generate similar questions, adjust difficulty. So now we've given a complete panel where you can enhance the question with AI. Right now, it's for each question, but very soon you'll be able to enhance the entire assessment. So you'll be able to proofread the entire assessment, generate explanations, or auto tag the entire assessment. So let's say I want to generate a mark scheme for this question. I can get AI to generate this mark scheme, and then I can talk to the AI where it can improve the mark scheme that it has generated. So it's generated this mark scheme, and I can accept, and it has now added that mark scheme to the question. Um, let's say for the next question, I want to generate a similar question, but with a different content. So I can click on the enhance button and I can generate a variation of the question. So if I want to do differentiated assessments, I can generate questions with different levels of difficulty, and then I can add that question to my assessment. So I get a complete panel where I am able to now work with the questions and improve. So this is a panel that you can see for each question, but very soon you will also be able to enhance the entire assessment with AI. So just proofread your entire assessment and or add auto tag your entire assessment or generate explanations and mark schemes for all of the questions that you have on AssessPrep. So within an assessment, and that is, I think, would be a big game changer. The next thing is paper mode. So paper mode is something that we had launched last year. And this is something which would bridge the gap and help the schools transition from completely paper-based assessments to digital assessment. Although there are early shifts that we can see to digital assessments, but I think this will be a gradual shift that would take place over the next 3 to 5 years. So in the meantime, we can at least start using the efficiencies of a digital assessment platform as a teacher or as a school, but letting the students still take assessments on paper. And this is what paper 2.0 or paper mode 2.0 does. Uh, so what we've kind of done is it used to take a lot of time to export and import student submissions, so it's much faster and accurate. And we also have a mobile app for upload. So I just wanted to very quickly show you what paper mode is. So paper mode, what it kind of allows you to do is you can create an assessment as you would normally do with AI or pull the questions, and then you can choose number of lines. You can choose what kind of lines you want to give, a blank space, you want to give dotted lines, you want to give solid lines, how many lines you want, and you can choose that for each of the questions that are there. in your assessment, you would go onto the Deliver tab and choose paper as the mode of delivery. And then if you click on Export Assessments, now it kind of gives you a very nicely formatted PDF. So let's say I want to assign this assessment. So let me choose some students here. And if I go into the export option, I can see that it is able to generate assessments or questions which are. So we have given two modes. The first one is an integrated mode where you have the questions and then space for student answers, and it is pre-labeled for each student with a QR code. It's a much cleaner export. You can see exactly what the student would see, and you can now export this. We've also given a backup answer sheet for walk-ins. So if there is a student who you did not map to this assessment, you can just put in the student name and code, and it will automatically map it to the student. So you can just print it out and the students can take it on paper. You can also do a different format where you just print out the question papers and then you have space for answers. So there's just empty space and the students can write in their answers. It just saves you a lot of printing costs and you can import them quickly onto AssessPrep. You can control the number of lines which is available for each of the questions. So if you want the 3x the number of lines, 4x the number of lines, you can export the combined PDF or individual students PDFs as well. So once you export this, when you give you a nicely formatted version, what I've just shown you, the students would then take this assessment on pen and paper. So I can see all of these assessments and it has all of the student submissions automatically mapped. So what I can do is I can just go into the bulk upload answer sheets, and now we've created two mobile apps. So not every school has a big scanning device. So we have created two different mobile apps. One is the iOS app and the Android app that is now available, where you can just download these apps and then you can just click pictures of the student work, or you can use your scanners and upload the PDF. Once you upload all of these, then it would automatically analyze the student's submission and it automatically maps it to the right student and the right question. And here is where the magic happens. So you choose your grading settings, how you want the grader to grade, and then you can either grade every question with AI and it will be able to understand messy student handwriting. This is something that we've tried, and this is a question that keeps coming up. And it'll be able to understand your diagrams. It'll be able to understand any kind of things that you've uh, imported with diagrams, student work, visual arts. Yeah, I can see that as a question in the chat box. So anything that the student has created. So let's say you'll give a blank space where the student has put in their work, and it'll be able to analyze that. And then you can use that feedback. Or what you can also do is you can just click on one button which says grade all with AI, and it'll just grade everything in one go. So what we've improved is the accuracy of mapping and the speed of mapping. So it is able to scan and map questions 20x faster. So it's really, really fast as compared to before. And you just keep clicking pictures and it maps it to the right student, and it does it very, very accurately. We have the mobile app now, and you have better visibility of the exports, so how you're exporting these assessments for your students. So this is one of the big updates with paper mode. We've not opened it for all of our schools, but this is something that we are releasing for all of our schools this month. So whoever is on the max plan, you will have access to the paper mode, and you can use it across any of the subjects. And you can see it's now started grading and assigning marks and feedback. So the advantage with paper mode is because you've tagged each of your questions with your curriculum standards, you immediately start getting analytics even from your pen and paper assessments. You immediately get to see how the students are performing across your curriculum standards. So you can see there are some students who are not able to understand topic 3.1. You can see student-wise performance. You can see how they performed for each of the questions. And you can see a summary of their performance across the entire assessment. And if I go back, then you will be able to see that it'll take about another 10-15 seconds, and it'll be able to grade all of the 5 student submissions. So it takes about a minute or 2 minutes, and it just can grade 5 to 10 submissions. Maybe if you have 50 or 100 submissions, it'll take about 10-15 minutes to do that. You can review the grade and then publish the grades for your students. The next big update is accommodations. And this is one of the biggest things that we wanted to work on. I think it's really difficult, especially in pen and paper assessments, to make them inclusive. And this is something that is becomes simpler when we do digital assessments. So there are three things that we have done. Uh, so better tools for the students, and I'll be talking about how this will help schools which are doing DP digital assessments. Uh, the better accommodations that are now available, and now user level accommodations are also available. So the first thing was you earlier had to go into each assessment in the monitoring dashboard and then enable these accommodations for your students. Now, this is something that's available where you can go into each student and you can enable it one time. So if you're from an IB school and you want to just give student 10% extra time every time that they take an assessment, you can do it at a central level. You do not have to go into every assessment and do that. Similarly, you can enable calculators, text to speech, speech to text, spell check, bilingual translate, and you don't have to give them dictionaries uh, where you can translate from if they do not natively speak a certain language. You have the dyslexia font that is now again available. So you can enable any of these accommodations from a central level, and you do not have to do it per assessment. If I show you where you can do it from within an assessment, so from the monitoring dashboard, now you have the option to enable. Obviously, you had this option of enabling, but we now have better accommodations that are now available through the monitoring dashboard as well. So you can add all of those things, and let's say I enable the translate option and I enable the text to speech and speech to text. If I go back and I see the student preview, what I can see is, and I have the ability to, let's now, if I've enabled this and I want to translate it into another language, and I just want to translate a single word, let's say I want to translate it into French. So it will translate it into that French. And this is only available if you enable this accommodation. It won't be available to the students until unless you enable this. I can also allow the students to translate entire sentences. So this is an amazing accommodation a lot of schools were asking for. Now this is available for your students. Obviously, you have now the ability to just select any text and read it out loud. You also have speech to text, which is now available. So the students can just read things and it'll just type that into the text box. So speech to text, text to speech. And finally, I wanted to talk about something that is very, very specific to DP. So if you've seen the DP assessments for language acquisition and language and literature, that gives students the ability to highlight the text. Let's say this is something that I want to uh, highlight. So I can highlight it and I can annotate on it. I can make my annotations and I can keep doing that and keep answering the questions on the right. So I have my split view that's available as a student where I can highlight my passage on the left and I can keep working on the things on the right. So this is something that was the most requested feature from all of the schools which are going towards DP digital assessments. And now this is available in AssessPrep version 3. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is uh, the grading with AI. I've already shown you how we are able to grade the assessments with AI, but now we have enabled it for more question types. Obviously, you can grade all, so you can grade the entire assessment with AI. You have a lot of different options with the grading, so you can choose how strict or lenient you want the grader to be. You can choose uh, the language. You can also choose the length, the tone, but we've also done something here where now you can also grade audio based. So if you have a speaking based task and the students have recorded an audio with the speaking based task, so you can actually uh, obviously you listen to it and grade it, but you can also get the AI to then listen to this audio and grade it as per the mark scheme or the explanation or the rubric that you've added. So there's some kind of rubric that we had added here in terms of the content, the fluency, the vocabulary, the grammar, how the student is speaking. And the AI would be able to judge on the basis of the rubric that you've added and also be able to now grade audio submissions. You can obviously improve, you can use it. The teacher is always in control. So that's one of our non-negotiables with whatever we do on AssessPrep. So human in the loop. So the AI is just an assistant. Whenever you grade something or you create something with AI, you can review it before you publish that for the students. But the aim was how can we support more and more question types? And this was one of the most requested features where you wanted to grade your audio-based submissions. So you can now grade handwritten submissions, anything the student uploads, uh, all of the question types that most of the question types that we offer, and also audio submissions with AI. And you can just grade everything with one click. So grade all with AI is again something that is now available on AssessPrep. So before I move on to the next thing, which features are you most excited about? So a lot of things that I've shown you. You would now see the poll on your screen. So you can see there are 8 options that are now available. You can obviously also choose, if nothing excited you in what we're doing, just choose none of the above, but you can just, if, and you can choose multiple options. I just want to get a sense of what is it that schools want so that we can double down on it and do it even better. So is it generating entire assessments and image generation with AI? So the ability to generate high quality assessments and questions with AI? Is it the ability to import PDFs or Google Forms or Word documents and quickly create your assessments? Is it the ability to enhance your questions with AI? Were you excited about the possibilities of paper mode because you're making that transition from digital to paper-based assessments? Was it the built-in accessibility feature and accommodations? Was it grading with AI? Was it the large bank of questions that we are now offering with 75,000 questions across 8 of the most popular international curricula? I didn't put in all of the above. You can select all of the options if everything excited you or if nothing excited you. And we would like to hear what else we can do to make it better. You can put that in the question box if you want, but select those options. I want to see which of these options are you most excited about in terms of assessment. Okay, so it's a mixed bag. So what I can see is most of you are excited about the ability to generate full assessments, importing assessments from PDF and Google Forms. Um, Built-in accommodations, 26%, grading with AI, 52%, paper mode, 40%, question enhancement, about 40%, updated question banks, so 32%. So it's a mixed bag. I think it's really heartening to see the response, and it kind of makes me feel that we're going towards in the right direction, and we'll keep building more and more of such features. So the last poll that I have. So if you are already using AssessPrep, feel free to choose. You're already a customer. If you don't have some of these features, please choose interested in upgrading, and we'll get in touch with you. If you do not use AssessPrep, you can do a free trial. So feel free to choose the first option, and we'll get in touch with you, and you can trial AssessPrep free, no obligation trial for your school. Right now, maybe you're not sure and you want to just book a call, you have some questions, and you're just interested in exploring what AssessPrep can do. Um, also have some questions about how the assessments are moving digital and how we can support you at a school level in making that transition. So feel free to choose that option. We'll still reach out to you and you can book a call and just interact with us. And we can probably, even if you do not want to trial assessment, we can probably help you kind of navigate this change that is happening in terms of AI and assessments. And if none of what we showed you excited you at all, feel free to choose not interested at this time. So yeah, this is again some feedback that we would get, and we would try to improve AssessPrep so that we can cater to your needs better. So feel free to choose any of these options. While you are answering the question, I will take some of the questions that were asked in the Q&A. So uh, so one of the questions was, is it related to the national curricula? Can we do assessments for the different national curriculums that are there? So the answer is yes. So AssessPrep not only supports international curricula, we support 600 plus curriculum standards across the world. So your American curriculum standards, your national curriculum standards, if you are in the Middle East. So we can enable any of these curriculum standards. Uh, these are just this is just a subset of what we have. This is a much larger list that we have. And we can enable any of those curriculum standards, and then you can use AI to generate your questions. You can use AI to import your assessments. You can analyze those assessments. You can use all of the technical features. Maybe we do not offer a bank for that specific curricula. So we just offer a bank for just the international curriculums that are available. We are expanding into some of those national curriculums, but probably it's not available. But everything else works as it is, and you can use it for any curricula that you offer at your school. So it's a curriculum agnostic platform, and all of the curriculum standards come built in, and you can also import your custom standards into AssessPrep. There is a question, is there a native Chromebook app? So you know that we offer the lockdown application, and do we offer a native Chromebook app where it blocks everything? Um, so uh, right. So we offer a app in the lockdown application in Mac, Windows, iPad, and Chromebooks. Chromebooks is obviously managed school devices, and uh, these are the four applications that we support at the moment. If the student takes the exam in any of those four devices, it would completely lock down their screen, and then you would be able to kind of uh, you can ensure that the students are not able to access anything else on their devices when they're taking the assessment. There are a few. At what point do you anticipate that the AI grading will be closer to 100%? So right now, that's a great question. Uh, right now, there are a few things that we've done, and there are a few things that we're working on to make the AI more and more accurate. My estimate is it's close to 90%. And it becomes more and more accurate dependent on how you use AssessPrep. So the first thing is if you added a high quality mark scheme or explanation with your question. And then when you grade with AI, it will use the mark scheme that you've added. Let's say it does not grade a question well. Then you can go back, edit that mark scheme, and then grade that entire question for all of the students again. So that is one thing that would save you a lot of time. And the way we do it is we just grade one submission with AI. We make sure that it is graded all of the answers well. If it does not grade a certain question well, we go back and change the mark scheme, update the mark scheme, and then once we're satisfied it is grading all of the questions well, then we grade all with AI. So I think it's 85-90% there. I think the way things are changing, it would be very close to 100%, maybe in the next 8 to 10 months. There are certain things that we're doing which will give you an estimate of if it'll just flag if the grading was accurate or not. So that is something that's coming up later in the year, but it will flag questions where it feels uncertain of the grading. So then you can just review those questions. So that is something we can. The next question is uh, the audio grading. Does it understand the diverse accents? Yeah, it's pretty good in the ability to understand the accents, the different accents in which you speak. So this is something that we've just launched. So we've tried it with different accents, but we would love to get some feedback from the schools which would be using this, so that we can improve. But it is pretty good in its ability to understand different accents, like the messy handwriting problem again. So does the AI be able to understand what the student is saying if they have a very diverse accent, which is different? Uh, so I it is able to do that at the moment. That's what my understanding is. But we would still like to get feedback from schools. Monitoring student screen will also be a good option in the future. Yes, that's something, if you want, it does not come out of the box available on AssessPrep, but we have something called auto proctoring, which would monitor the student screen and also turn on their camera. So with the auto proctoring on, it will automatically flag if the student is uh, like monitoring, like it can monitor the camera and the student screen. So this is something that does not come out of the box. But if you are an AssessPrep user and you want to use auto proctoring, please get in touch with us and we can enable that for your school. How to prevent academic misconduct during exams? Sometime on lockdown mode, we find student. Uh, so if you have, if you think that, so I think the best way to prevent academic misconduct during exams is to use the lockdown mode that we offer. And obviously, if the student are taking the exam at home, then the auto proctoring can help. I think I have answered almost all of the questions in the chat box as well. So if there are no further questions, thank you everybody for joining this webinar. Some of these features will be enabling for your schools over the next few weeks. But thank you so much for joining the webinar and see you soon.